Hello and welcome to another Tier List Tuesday, and today we're going to take a look at all spawns for the upcoming Global Go Fest this weekend, which are going to have a ton of spawns that we can take a look at, and we can kinda rate it. It's not only PvP today, but also like kinda like PvE, kinda nice-ish Pokemon that are kinda rare, but mainly PvP to be fair, you know, it's a PvP channel, so I'm going to rank all of them. But before we start, actually, there's one other thing that we can rank as well. There are a few exclusive moves that you can get while you evolve during this event. You're going to get Bug Bite for the Venom. No. You're going to get Bug Bite for the Butterfree. We're going to have Night Slash for Sand Slash. We're going to have Pound for Clefable, Earth Power for the Flygon. We're going to have the Salamence with Outrage, or the Media Mesh on the Metagross. We have Bullet Seed as well as a Weather Ball on the Roserade and Body Slam on the Licky. What's really decent here, Night Slash on Sand Slash is very cool to have. Pound is so bad on the Clefable, honestly don't. You can get the yourself a Butterfree, but you don't really need to. Earth Power is definitely the better move on Flygon if you have some random ones running around. Outrage does not help out the Salamence at all unless you go for PvE. The Media Mesh onto the Metagross, of course, something that you definitely should try to take advantage of. Bullet Seed, Weather Ball on the onto the Roserade, very decent as well. And then we have Body Slam on Licky. Fairly good move there. Definitely try to get one if you want one for the Ultra League, but you can also use just Snorlax for the Ultra League, which is cheaper. So let's rank them all. We're going to start already with the good friend here, our little bug. We're going to use you into the Just Note here. Sadly, Butterfree will never really have any impact, I would say. It's just a very bad typing, one of the worst typings actually. Plus, not really the best stats either. Pikachu, sadly, is also going to be a Just No, unless you're going to be a Shiny Hunter, and then you most likely have a must-have here. In general, just this Pokemon itself, Just No. Why? Because it cannot evolve. It's like the one of the Pokemon that has like those crowns on its head. So, like, unless you're really going for that one, it's Just No. Something that's definitely decent is going to be the Sandshrew here, the normal Sandshrew, but I would actually put it maybe into the future thingy here because the Alolan variant got Drill Run. If the normal variant also gets Drill Run, I think this Pokemon has a way more potential. Something that is definitely now a must-have is Clefairy. Clefairy is like such a good Pokemon now. Like Clefable, one of the best Pokemon right now with not the move Pound, but you can use at least the Fairy Wind now, which is so good for this Pokemon. Definitely one of the must-have Pokemon here. Next Pokemon, sadly, also a Just Note here. The Diglett here, the Alolan variant, does not have any potential right now. I don't think it's gonna get anything in the future either. Maybe this form because it has Steel typing, which is very decent, but I don't really expect it. We're going to see now the, like Golduck and stuff like this is kind of interesting right now and might have some niche play, but it's not that crazy, and maybe it's going to be a little bit better in the future right now. It might just need a really good fast move, and it would be really cool. Something that's good to have, and I think that's just really cool to have, is like the Hisuian variant of the Growlithe right now. This Pokemon is very difficult to get with good IVs and has at least sometimes the potential, still kind of needs to be a little bit better. Maybe it's also more of a future pick, to be fair, so we're going to rank it here. Next Pokemon coming up, going to be Licky, or like the Lickitung here right now. Must have for PvP, very good for the Great League. Definitely something you want to have. Something that's very good to have is definitely the Kingdra later on. Kingdra very good for the Ultra League, especially in like special cups, so definitely something that you can grind. Same is for the Scyther, or like in general the evolution of it with Scizor. Very cool Pokemon, also has the Mega Evolution, so definitely good to have for you as well. Next Pokemon, good to have as well, basically the definition of it. Lapras, very good to get one with decent IVs, which is something that's a little bit more tricky, as well as Shiny, some people might not have it. And Snorlax, I would also put there, but like I would put Snorlax a little bit into the higher good to have tier, because this Pokemon is very decent to use. And yeah, if you don't have an Azumarill, definitely an event where you can have it. I would put Azumarill a little bit lower into the must-have tier. Azumarill is a very cool Pokemon still, but not as great as it was basically back in the day. I hope that they buff Bubble a little bit, but I just don't like Jellicent, so I hope maybe they don't buff Bubble. Maybe you could just give them a better other move or whatever would be nice. Something in the low good to have here is actually Ariados. Very cool in some special cups. Very cool Pokemon in general, having access to Poison Sting, Lunge, as well as Cross Poison. Very good moveset. Very good against any fighting type Pokemon. Very cool in the Love Cup as well. So very nice there. The Wobbuffet I just have to put into good to have, but like it does not really deserve it too much here. It's also kind of lowish. I don't like this Pokemon. I don't like to use it. It is very decent in some cups, but like it's not really mine. But yeah, maybe in the future this Pokemon can't get buffed, so like it's never going to be better than this. We have Girafarig here, which seemingly spawns in this event. Definitely good to have, definitely somewhere here as well. Very cool in the Great League, definitely try it out if you have one, especially the Shadow variant, very cool. Sorry to all Homeslice fans, but Shuckle is just no, like honestly this Pokemon sadly will never be good. Unless they're going to allow it for like any little cup, which I don't see coming because it would be too broken forward. It sadly just doesn't really do the job, and yeah, I'm sorry for that one. It's actually lower than the Caterpie, which is kind of funny, but yeah, let's take a look at the next one. Very cool to have for especially shiny hunters, but also in general a good Pokemon to have is the Heracross here. If you have Buzzwole, maybe a little bit better, but Heracross still has a lot of potential, especially as this Pokemon also has a Mega Evolution, so very cool Pokemon there. Next one is going to be something that I have to put, I don't know, I have to put it into the just naughty, to be fair. Like, the evolution is pretty cool. It's funny to use as lock-on. It is, like, Gang Shot. It has, like, Octazooka. But I don't even think that they can buff it anymore. And I think just the stats just, I don't know. Like, maybe if it gets, like, some crazy water type move, I'm just gonna put it back there also with, like, the Psyduck and whatever. I think that's kind of where it belongs, but yeah. Next one going to be Miltank. Very cool opportunity to get the XL candy for the Ultra League. Very cool Pokemon, especially in the Ultra League. So definitely try to grind this. Definitely a little bit above the rest here as well, I would say. But very cool Pokemon. While this definitely is a must-have for me, Wurmple is sadly, of course, not really up there. My shiny Wurmple, one of my favorite Pokemons, of course, with the party add-on, but sadly not really good in the Go Battle League. Even though, actually, never mind. The evolution of it is fairly decent. Actually, never mind. It's maybe decent in the future. Like, if we're going to get the buff on Dustox, it's actually very decent. Like, Dustox has a great stats. It doesn't get to 1500, it just barely is below that. But Dustox actually has great stats. And if we get somewhere like a Bug-type buff or something like this Pokemon actually has some potential. So maybe I'm actually going to put it as one of the best picks for the future, which is kind of funny, but it is actually true. Next Pokemon, sadly, maybe in the future we're gonna get this. I don't really expect that the evolution of this one going to be as great either, but Whismur is going to chill down there. Might have some potential to the 3-stage evolution, but they would have to fix a lot of it. Skitty, I don't know, Skitty, like sometimes it's funny in some metas where like Charm is not allowed, but like Charm, like not fairies are not allowed, but like there's like a non-fairy Charm user, which is kind of funny, as a very decent boost set. I don't know. I just gonna put it here down there with a Whismur as well. I don't know what you really could give it to boost it up even further. I don't know. It's a funny Pokemon sometimes. It looks in the wrong direction, but not sure. Not sure. Something that's good to have, especially with the extra moves that you can get during this event. Gonna be the Rosalia, which can go into a Roserade, which is very decently great in Ultra League and certain special cups, so definitely go for that one. As you can now see, a Pokemon that maybe it's going to be better in the future. I'm going to hope that it's going to be better there. This Pokemon can, like, of course, the evolution Sharpedo going to be very, like, it's just very attack rated, which is a little bit tricky. So maybe if they buff Waterfall or something, this Pokemon might be a little bit more interesting, but usually you want to have the Shadow variant anyway. So you could argue of getting the XL candy for an XL Sharpedo for the Ultra League, but yeah. Next Pokemon, I guess I have to put very low good to have here, because Flygon is basically only good in one cup, which he just had available, or just actually still is available. And in any other cup, sadly, other than Fantasy Cup, this Pokemon does not really shine too much. I don't actually know, other than Breaking Swipe, I guess, if this learns Breaking Swipe, I don't know how you can buff it anymore. I would actually more put it into maybe in the future, just for like one special cup. I don't know, I don't think it's really the best one either. Something that's good to have, especially for beginners, this is a Barboach. Barboach is a very cool beginner Pokemon. Should be actually fairly high as well. Wishka is kind of underrated because there are other Mudbobs that are just a little bit better, but Wishka still is a very strong Pokemon, very cool Pokemon to have. As you're gonna go for, just know again, somewhere around Shuckle, like this Pokemon just does not have any play at all. We all know it. It just gets up to like 1000 CP or something. It is wild. Next Pokemon here going to be something that maybe is good in the future. I hope that this Pokemon finally gets Breaking Swipe. Definitely top tier Pokemon then if Salamence gets Breaking Swipe and some kind of coverage, but Salamence really needs some love. Pokemon that's definitely one of the top tier Pokemon to have is, of course, the Metagross then later on. Very strong, very good for the Master League. Same goes for all the legendaries coming up right now. All of them must have for Master League. If you get the XL Kenny for them, very, very cool, very good Pokemon. Rayquaza now, it doesn't really need the special new move, but it's definitely a cool Pokemon to have so for Master League. Something you want. Pachirisu. This is going to be a Pokemon that you can only get through the pay ticket. Same goes for, by the way, the Growlithe as well. If you don't have the pay ticket, you don't get those Pokemon. But definitely a cool Pokemon to have. Very good in the Great League, but you need a fully XL one. So if you get a 100% variant of this Pokemon, great for you. Very good Pokemon, very cool pick. Shellos maybe gets an upgrade eventually. Has Mud Slap, has Body Slam. Interesting Pokemon, but needs definitely another move that really helps it out, like Mud Bomb or something, or like Mud Step Buff or something like this. But right now, not that great. Same goes for Lopunny. Lopunny actually has a pretty decent moveset, but the stats are just like, I don't think it's ever going to be good. So yeah, it has the Mega Evolution, but even this one is not really that great. So I don't know, definitely an interesting one. Something that I actually only would put into good to have here, because it's not as great in any cup right now anymore, is going to be the Pokemon that I actually most likely showcased early on today, if this works out all how I expected. The Garchomp is an interesting Pokemon. It's very decent for Master League now. It's not the greatest Pokemon anymore. It's really okay-ish for the Premier Cup, but even there, like, there are now better Pokemon to use, so kinda fell off. Kinda need something like a Dragonclaw in order to be better again, but right now, not ideal. Something that I really hope that would get buffed eventually is going to be the Powder and stuff like this. Like, this Pokemon has a lot of potential theoretically, but like it just needs like some kind of upgrade. I don't know what they would give it, but very interesting Pokemon. I would put it like somewhere below. I don't think we're gonna get an upgrade fairly soon, but interesting Pokemon. Yeah, this is also, I think, a Pokemon that you can only get through the instance, which is only for like paid people. I don't think this Pokemon ever has any potential, like, honestly, sorry, like, I don't think it's going to be that great. Something good to have, definitely Obama's now. It is not that super nice, but yeah, I don't know, it's okay. It's definitely a decent Pokemon, but we're gonna put it somewhere here. Like, it is not as great right now. Stardust here, not actually any Pokemon there yet, but let's put some Pokemon in here. This is the best Pokemon to get Stardust right now. The Audino gives you so much Stardust. Definitely grind this one out. Definitely grind this one out. Gives you also extra Stardust. I think like around 750 or like 500 or something like this. Same goes for this one, which is going to give you more Stardust. Like, those Pokemon, they are very bad, like right now at least. In PvP, they could be good if they get better fast moves, but right now at least, not the best Pokemon to use. But very interesting Pokemon to have, and definitely good for Stardust games, so that's why they are on the list and have like their own tier, because the Pokemon itself, not as great, but the Pokemon for future, like for in general the Stardust and maybe for future attack updates might be interesting, so very interesting there. We're going to take a look at the next one. Honestly, I don't really see this Pokemon being ever that decent. I guess it has a, I don't know, like it just needs a better charge move or like some fast move that, I mean, Confusion and Psychic Fangs is already kind of nice, so I see that this Pokemon actually would have potentially some, I don't know, like I just gonna put it a little bit lower. I don't think it's ever going to be that great, especially with like other Pokemon that are also similar typing around. Next Pokemon, that is definitely a must-have in my opinion. Very cool for the Premier Cup. I love this thing. I can finally get hopefully the XL Candy for this Pokemon. Going to get a community day most likely as well if the leaked stuff is correct. But very cool Pokemon here, definitely, especially if it's got a community day, definitely keep the interesting IV variants of this one. Next one is something that really needs a buff, but if it gets a buff, it would be actually cool. Another Mudboy that would really work out well, but right now it's just not. Next Pokemon is going to be something, again, that really needs a buff right now. The Whimsicott is a cool core break actually in the current Great League meta, but it's still like so unreliable. I just really hope that this gets like some kind of upgrade again. Kind of got nerfed recently, both of them, so that's kind of sad, but let's take a look at the next one. Something that honestly is very good to have is the Galvantula. Very good Pokemon, especially in the Ultra League, but also in the Great League. Very underrated. Kind of want to make a video about this Pokemon again because it's so cool. But yeah, next Pokemon, definitely decent one as well for the good to have here is going to be the Ferrothorn. Would put it somewhere as well here. Very, very good Pokemon for both Ultra League as well as for Great League. Kind of underrated. Kind of needs a little bit of a move update as well. Maybe something better than Bullet Seed as a fast move would be really cool for this Pokemon because then it definitely had more potential. As we're gonna go for another must-have tier Pokemon because this Pokemon is confirmed to be decent in the future, basically, so I'm definitely gonna put it up there. This Pokemon gets another evolution for the Generation 9, so it's going to be 3-stage, and then it's going to be very good for Master League, so definitely get one of them. Basically confirmed that it's something that's decent, while the maybe in the future tier is more for people, or like for Pokemon where you don't know if it's going to be decent in the future. So yeah, that's definitely going to be very cool when it's going to get its next evolution, so very interesting there. I don't know, Barbarical is an interesting pick. I don't know what really would make this Pokemon that much better. I'm still gonna put it into maybe in the future tier, because it has at least someday maybe some potential, but not as much. We're going to take a look at the next Pokemon here. This is something that you don't need, especially not in this form. While Victory Bell is very interesting for the Great League, only the Shadow variant is. You don't need XL Candy for it. The normal variant is just not great. So you don't really need the normal variant at all, not even for like XL Candy, for example, where like other Pokemon are a little bit better for, because you don't really need the XL Candy for the Ultra League anyway. It's not like Fast Move Down with a Razor Leaf in the Ultra League just doesn't really work out. So yeah, next Pokemon, they really would need to get this Pokemon something crazy, like literally crazy. So I don't know, like it has a signature move which is currently really bad, so I'm gonna put it still into the maybe in the future tier, but it is definitely an awkward one, because Helioptile or whatever is a little bit tricky. It has a signature move which is already in the game but just doesn't do damage, or like, I don't know, it doesn't do anything, to be fair, so it's kind of awkward. But let's take a look at the best Pokemon to get. Must have for sure Carbink, we all know this. Best Pokemon to have here for sure. If you want to get like anything, definitely Carbink, very cool Pokemon. Hope it spawns an instance again, because this Pokemon is actually very cool to have for the Great League. Definitely try to get one if you can. Next Pokemon coming up here, going to be a new shiny release, but also has some potential for the future, especially as this Pokemon is going to also have another evolution later on, like basically this Pokemon could evolve already. The second stage is already then a Steel type Pokemon. Very cool if this is going to get into the game. Might be a Sheep Dialga, which might be very cool, as the evolution is Dragon as well as Steel typing. Might make another video, by the way, as well, very soon, for potential evolutions, or like evolutions that we're going to get in the future, which you kind of want to hold on to, and this is definitely one of them, definitely one of the must-have here. Next Pokemon leaked to be in a community day very soon. Definitely then, I guess, good to have if this is going to get an upgrade that really is worth it. Or maybe it's actually like definition of maybe in the future, because we don't know if the community day actually happens, but does make a lot of sense if this would happen. As we're going to take a look at the next one, must have, honestly, in my opinion, yes. Like Toxapex is so good in some certain cups. I definitely would recommend you to get a good variant of this Pokemon. Very good to have. Next Pokemon is definitely actually very good to have. The Fomantis here, going to be very nice to have as well, and going to be somewhere as well here. Definitely good Pokemon in the Great League, very good as a core breaker, great moveset with the Leaf Blade and Super Power. Needs a little bit of a better fast move, maybe Leaf Edge gets above, which would be cool, but interesting nonetheless. Next Pokemon, actually one of the good to have here Pokemon for sure. It needs a little bit of a buff as well eventually, but right now it's definitely still usable, and also new shinies definitely cool there. As we're going to take a look at the Unova Stunfisk, which is going to spawn, sadly not the Galarian, but the Unova Stunfisk is also good to have Pokemon, especially after the recent buff of Mud Bomb. I don't know why the picture looks like this, but that's kind of funny. And now we're going to take a look at the final Pokemon, which is going to be Diancie, and I was really put it sadly into the maybe in the future tier. This Pokemon is having the same moveset, exact same moveset as the Carbink. I think they did it on purpose. But this Pokemon has eventually the special move later on, which like it would have a signature move. So going to be interesting. Diamond Storm would even buff the defense if it ever comes into the game. This might make this Pokemon a little bit better, especially for the Ultra League, as that can be actually a cool core breaker. But right now, this is going to be my tier list for this upcoming event. I think I didn't really do any mistake. I don't think there was anything that gives you extra Stardust or anything either. But yeah, 3 Pokemon, really good for Stardust, especially the Ordinal, but also the other 2 are very nice to get this. A few Pokemon that just cannot do anything, a few Pokemon that are very decent in the future, a lot of Pokemon that are really good to have for especially PvP, so maybe this video helped you. If it did, feel free to leave a like, and I'll see you then. Bye bye.